And of course, you know the problem with being around somebody who's about to be stoned to death is the people throwing rocks aren't always that accurate. You do not want to be near someone who is being stoned to death. And so really what the disciples are saying is, Jesus, don't you remember what just happened days ago? They want to kill you there. Surely you don't want to go back. And if you do want to go back, you surely don't want us to go with you. They don't want to go. Plain and simple. We wouldn't want to go either. So Jesus tells them and goes on. He says, our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but now I'll go wake him up. Now what happens next, I think, is still just the disciples saying, we don't want to go with you. Because what they end up doing next is giving Jesus medical advice. You ever done that? Ever given God medical advice? You know, when you're praying, you're like, God, I need you to do this through the doctor. I need you to do this through the surgeon. Make sure you get this done, God. And God's like, thank you for your advice. I got this. I totally got this. And they begin to give Jesus medical advice. Here's the medical advice they give him. Lord, if Lazarus is sleeping, he will soon get better. And what they're trying to tell Jesus is something like this. You see, Jesus, you may not know this, but when people sleep, when they're sick, they're getting better. And what we need to do is just stay away. Just let's not wake Lazarus up. Let him sleep. Ultimately, what are they saying? We don't want to go. Please don't make us go. And Jesus seems to have kind of had enough of this little interchange between him and his disciples. And so he tells them very plainly, Lazarus is dead. And for your sakes, I'm glad that I wasn't there. For now you will really believe. Come, let's go see him. Now, on one hand, doesn't this kind of sound a little bit cold-hearted, Jesus is saying, hey, I'm glad I didn't go because this happened for your sakes. You're being the disciples. You're being maybe Mary and Martha. And again, we can hear this and think, well, that's very pragmatic and insensitive, especially to Mary and Martha, who have just now lost their brother. But sometimes what seems very insensitive is actually the most loving thing. Maybe you've experienced that. What seems insensitive is actually the most loving things. Because remember, this isn't just a miracle, it's a sign. And what Jesus is about to do, he says, is for your sakes. It's for your sakes. What he's about to do is for the sake of every parent who's lost a child. What he's about to do is for the sake of every husband who's had to bury a wife, or every wife that's had to bury a husband. What he's about to do is for the sake of every child who's had to bury a parent too early. What he's about to do is for the sake of every friend who's had to bury a friend. It's for our sake. This is a sign telling us that no matter how horrible things get, no matter how dark things get, no matter how deadly, how tragic things get, it's the sign that says the worst things are never the last things. So Jesus is like, all right, guys, we got to go. Stop making excuses. Let's make like a tree and leave. Let's make like a banana and split. Let's make like a shepherd and get the flock out of here, all right? That's not in the Bible, by the way. And I picture, so Jesus says, we got to get out of here. We're going to Jerusalem. We're going to go to Lazarus. And I picture the disciples looking at each other, and there's this awkward moment, and then Thomas speaks up. Does that ring a bell? Thomas, what does he get? What's his moniker before his name? Doubting Thomas speaks up, and he says these words, well, let's go too and die with Jesus. You know what he's saying? He's like, Lazarus is dead. We know, Lazarus is dead. Jesus is going to die. We're all going to die. This is not going to end well. Let's just go do it. Let's get it over with. So they head to the village of Bethany. Here's what happens next.